Okay, so I'm going to try this again because for those of you who follow astrology, it's Mercury retrograde, and I have been fighting with audio problems on my microphone on this rig here, trying to get this episode done. Yeehaw. So I finally seem to have it working, and I am going to give it a shot. So this is Midwestern Geek in Cali, episode 123, and it is going to be a Google survival guide. And let's roll into the episode. Okay, I'm your host, Dan Stafford. Um, I've got a little bit to say about Google, but let's get into this with a brief personal update. I've been getting myself paired way back on social media. Facebook is like toned way down, and I'm going to be getting off Facebook other than Messenger around the second week of December. I'm clawing back focus. Got rid of X, got rid of Instagram, got rid of Threads. I'm going to be going pretty much to messaging. So, Messenger, WhatsApp, and Signal. I have a few friends on all of those, and we're going to roll with that. Also, dumping the Fitbit. It is gone. Enough with the super glue. Fitbit number two. Bands are just cheap, keep falling apart. I can only super glue so much. So I'm done with that. I'm going to get an Aura ring. This is just a little sizer, but at least that can't come apart like that. They're made out of titanium, I understand. So if I break that sucker at work, um, well, that's kind of on me. All right. So Google, the DOJ is really going after Google, and it's kind of irking me a bit, right? I am a big user of the Google ecosystem, and I am worried about them breaking things in a big way when if they force them to sell off Chrome. I get it. They've got way too much search, and we really need to get them to, you know, open up for competition in search, but selling Chrome is a bad idea for a way to approach that. Better idea would to be to have Google rotate through every time you search something, you get a different search engine, say like the top 10. I don't know, 10 different search engines, 6, 15, something like that. But make it so in Chrome or in any other browser, boom, 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 boom. Now, this is going to really clamp down on Mozilla and Firefox because Mozilla gets a ton of its funding, a big, big chunk, the majority probably, from getting paid by Google to put their search engine as the default search engine. So people who love Firefox, this is going to touch you. Okay. If the DOJ does this, this is going to touch you. All right. And it's not just us Google ecosystem users. And I use Firefox too. It's a great browser, but my primary go to is Chrome, not for privacy concerns, but for functionality. I mean, really, Google SSO, single sign on, is huge to me as a user. And that's what I'm really worried about them breaking. So let's talk about a few things that they could really do. I need to sip off my coffee here. I've been talking for an hour and nobody could hear it. I didn't know it wasn't putting sound in the recording, and it really, let's just say, Mercury retrograde is so fun. By the way, the day Mercury stationed retrograde, that's when Microsoft had their big outage. Hmm, not the first time I've seen something like that happen on a Mercury retrograde station. quantum physics, symbology, whatever you want to call it, but there's something there. All right. So Google a survival guide. All right. What they really need to do is they need to focus in two areas. Number one, don't let them break SSO. You're going to be toast if that happens. But you need to focus on your content creation, mobile web experience, and the consumability of the web. And let me break some of that down. All right. So when it comes to the web, you got ads. First off, as a user, ads covering up stuff like crazy. Let me jump over here and bring up a little bit of something here. All right. So let me throw that on the screen and I'm going to get over here on the PC screen. Oh, that looks better too. The infinity screen's back to normal. Man, OBS was eating something and it didn't like what it was eating. All right, let me get over here. So this is just a quick screenshot off my phone. I was taking a look at an article, any article online today on mobile, and there's just junk covering it everywhere. And these X's are usually so small with my big fat fingers, I just wound up clicking on something I never intended to. Anyway, I bounce off this stuff left, right, and sideways. I do not hang around on these websites. If it's covering up what I'm trying to read with all this obnoxious stuff that's popping up in my face and starting up videos when I don't want and everything like that, I bounce like that. I am done. I do not need that kind of aggravation, right? So it's just not worth it to me. So consumability, mobile web, especially since most people consume the web on a mobile device now, right? Yeah, yeah, I'm not in front of a desktop 90% of the time. I am doing most of my web consumption in short bursts on the phone with not a lot of time. So for me to get a site like that on mobile, I'm bouncing. I don't have time for that shit. Excuse my French. It really irritates me, to say the least. So, ads. What can you do about ads and get ad revenue, yet make the web really consumable on mobile? Make it a pleasant experience for the actual consumer of content. Make them want to come and view your content because you're going to need to figure this out, Google, in order to survive the bust of search. So, with the web content, I'm thinking more static ads. Remember banner ads back in the day? Okay, but not quite static. A little finesse, a little glimmer, maybe a little neon glow that circles around the ad. Subtle, easy on the eyes, easy on the attention. It's there, it's here, but it's not blocking you from doing what you want to do. Okay? Even better yet, you find the natural pauses in the content as the user is scrolling down the screen. And you roll with the natural pauses, just like old time TV used to do. They used to know where in a TV show was a natural break, and they would say, "Let's time now for a message from our sponsor." We are able to put the show on the air back then on the web now because we get sponsors to pay for advertising, which allows us to provide you this content. So, a word from our sponsor, okay? That's not the worst thing in the world to say. And if it's coming at a natural lull in the content, so much the better. If it's coming midstream in the content and blocking it all out, bye, see ya. Okay? So, make the ads easy on the eyes. Now, the other thing is relevance. If you're showing me an ad for something I just bought 15 minutes ago because I just bought it 15 minutes ago, you're kind of an idiot. I just bought that. I already spent the money on what I'm going to get there. I have a limited amount of money because I'm an hourly worker. Yeah, just saying. I got a budget just like the company has a budget. So if I already bought something, you might want to let me know about something that's going to amp it up or an alternative to that. But you know what? The time for that is not right 5 minutes after I bought it. It's a week later after I figured out the things about the thing that frustrated me, right? So if you know what frustrates somebody about it, about that product, and you know that they're going to figure it out in a week or so, hit them with ads a week later for an alternative to that. So they got time to return it and get the thing that you're trying to sell. Or just plain other stuff that's you got to find better ways to make your ads relevant to what the person's going to need. Also, you got to figure better ways to time it to when their budget's going to work with it. There needs to be some way to figure that kind of piece out too. I don't know how to go about that one without invasion of privacy. So that would be something you might want to consider, and wiser heads than me might be able to figure that out. But consumability, relevance of ads, pleasant ways of putting ads in front of people, timeliness of how you put ads in front of people, that's all massively important. Also, the look and feel of mobile websites. Um, I'm going to get into that because Google, you have something that you're underestimating. You have something cool that could be made a lot better, right? You have an army of content creators both on YouTube, right? And wait, Blogger. You own that. You've owned it for years. Put some effort into making those Blogger blogs front and center. Make them mobile friendly and mobile pretty. Now, I know you've done some work on making them mobile, okay? But let's get back into these images for a minute and let's bounce off that ad thing. All right. This is a blog that I have in mobile. All right. It's there. It's functional. You got a blurb. You can see the, first image and whatnot. Okay. But now let's take a look at this in desktop for a minute here. And I'm going to bounce off that and bring this back up. And this is what it looks like in desktop. You know, I went through a lot of work and a lot of time to make this look pleasant on desktop. All right. And then I go over here to mobile and it looks like this. It's lost the ambiance, to be honest. Would help if I was showing you the PC screen, wouldn't it? Give me just a second to get back on the right image. Let's repeat that again. And that one's on me. Sorry. Okay. PC screen, infinity screen. All right. So this is the mobile version of the blog, right? And here is the desktop version of the blog, right? There's a lot of the character and essence and ambiance of the desktop site that is just toast on the mobile site, right? There's a happens when you scroll down. It's functional on mobile, but it ain't pretty anymore. Not really. I just not good enough. So that's something to maybe work on with Blogger. But there's more than that. Okay. You have that army of content creators on Blogger, and you can make it pretty again, and you can put it front and center again in search by being careful about how you put ads on it with all that I said earlier. But another thing that you can do is use all that AI prowess that you've just been developing and help those content creators be able to use AI to create blog posts in audio format while they're thinking about it, while it's still fresh in their head, spout it off, have the AI generate a draft post, and then the blogger go back and be able to edit it, right? That's the content creation side. That's one thing. But on the consumption side, a lot of times I don't have time to put eyeballs on the screen. Okay. I can't do that. I'm driving or I'm in the middle of working, you know, repetitive task, something like that, but I can listen. I can use my ears, but I need my eyes and my hands free. Okay. Take those blogs and that AI and have that AI turn those blogs into an audio podcast in the blogger's own voice, right? You guys can do voice duplication with AI now. Have the AI read the blog post content in the blog author's voice, should they choose to allow that, and podcastify the blogs, right? You know how to make podcasts work. You had Google Podcasts for a while, kind of dropped the ball there, but you know how to make podcasts work. Turn the blogs into a podcast, right? Think about that for a minute because you have tons and tons of content there that could be made into podcasts that are interesting. And, well, there's just a lot more you can do with what you already have. Let's put it that way. A lot more. But get hyper focused on the consumability of the web platform that you have and how you can gracefully and with finesse put advertising in there and bump up your ad revenue that way and help that company survive and keep that SSO functional. You got a lot of tools there. So go back to that motto of do no harm and do it one better. Do public good. Make the internet a better place. Make Google properties something that I want to go and listen or hear and see. That it's pleasant for me to go to and listen to and hear and see. You know, radio back in the day, I would listen to the ads on the radio. It's kind of comfortable to listen. Auditory, the ads are not as bad. There's something about them that's less freaking obnoxious than they are visually. And probably because of the way that visually they're interruptive rather than carefully timed and eased in. Whereas with radio and most podcasts, if they're any good, the ads are timed gracefully with the content. They naturally fit in certain spots in the content and use that rather than shoving the ads down people's throats and spiking them into their eyeballs. Grace, finesse, ambiance. The old saying is, you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. Kind of not shocking. Okay, so you've got a lot to work with and a lot to think about. And I hope the DOJ doesn't go after Chrome. I hope somebody at Google actually hears this and brings up that idea of ratcheting through multiple search engines, build that into Chrome, and focus on your content creators and make that a haven on the web. You could do the same thing with your Google News. I listened to that sucker driving down the road. I'm like, okay, Google, play the you know what. I don't want to say it because my phone's there and it'll start spouting it. But you've got places where you can really do something with to get good ad revenue and keep this from being a death blow. And I really would love to see that. So, that all being said, the next thing is Happy Thanksgiving. It's the Wednesday evening before Thanksgiving. So, I'd like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays, drive safe, lots of pumpkin pie, lots of good time with family and friends. We need each other right now these days. Um, yeah, blessings to all of you. Be grateful for what is good in life, and yeah, well, have fun. All right. Happy Vulcan fingers to you from the agent of 42. May there never be a rogue wave in your coffee mug. Have lots of coffee with your pumpkin pie tomorrow. I'm sure gonna. And while you're at it, if you would like and subscribe to my channel, I appreciate that. You know, I need a little bit of word from some sponsors. Any sponsors? Actually, this is a labor of love. I'm not really doing this to try to make money, but yeah, it's nice to get a little feedback that says, hey, yeah, you're doing something that's worth a little bit of our time. So if you would like and subscribe, and have a wonderful holiday, and thank you. Thank you for listening and spending a little time with me.